Hey, everybody, and welcome to the She is Unleashed podcast. I have with me today Miss Marlia Hall, and I am super excited for this conversation. I got a chance to talk with her a couple of months ago on her show, and today I get to show up here
Yeah.
and tell her story today. I am so excited. Thank you for being here, Marlia, and for saying yes to this invitation.
Thank you for the invite, and your intro is amazing.
You can credit that to Ben.
I love it.
Thank you. All right. So we are going to be talking about your story and your journey of healing and your journey of being unleashed. And I'm super excited to hear what this has been like for you. And so I'm going to go ahead. Before we go into the questions, though, would you please tell our listeners a little bit about you, who you are, and a little bit about what you do?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Marlia Hall. I am an author, speaker, coach, consultant. I'm also a wife and a mother of six. I spend all my days living in my purpose, doing my best to just ignite some light and help people to see beyond where they are presently. I'm one of those people who believe that God has put a big vision inside of us all. There's something major that we're supposed to do, even if that thing is something we do at home or something we do in the background. So every single day, I'm just helping people to see things and believe things and bring beautiful things into their lives. I own a consulting company where I help small business owners grow their businesses through passive and automated income streams. I also have a hybrid publishing company where we help people to publish their books and self-publish their books. And then I am an account manager for my husband's marketing agency. And that's what I do full time. Between the three of these companies, I am helping somebody to bring to life something that they've seen or heard or feel like they have been called to do. And I absolutely love
What don't you do?
it. Yeah. Well, I do not sew. Don't ask me to sew anything for you, even though I wish I was that girl. And I don't bake.
Okay.
So,
All right. So that there are some limitations to the
yes,
superwoman that we have on the show
yes.
today. All right. Awesome. So if you can tell us a little bit about your journey, and we're going to unpack it in pieces over the next couple of minutes, but your journey of healing and freedom and um yeah, tell us a little bit about your story and what has brought you to this moment that you're living in right now.
Mm, that's great. So I would say my story began when I was 6 years old and I was molested by someone who lived down the street from me, maybe about 7 to 9 houses from my childhood home. After that, my whole world was flipped upside down. I saw people differently. I experienced life very differently as an abused child. I did not get my family involved or any adults or authorities until I was 19 years old. So that was a good 13 or so years of secret keeping and just trying to manage and process all the things that happened. When I was 19, I did first open up to my parents, and that kind of began my healing journey of acknowledging that some inappropriate things had happened to me, and I was just exposed to another world. Uh, in that process, though, I was, of course, told to let it all out and give it all to God for healing. But practically, I also had to see a therapist. I had to just really speak on it and share things and just work through that whole space of just accepting that that is what happened and that does not define who I am or what I am able to do or to contribute to this world. Um, in the midst of this process, though, I did become a single mom. I had two children by the age of 23 years old. And so my life as an adult started very, very quickly. In that process, though, after having my second child, is when I really got serious and just devoted myself and my life and my body and my purpose, everything in me to just God and just doing something great in this world and helping people to know that regardless of what they've been through, what they're currently going through, that they could get out of those things. So,
Mhm.
in that process, I would say that I did a lot of amazing things on my own. I invested in coaches, took some classes, just completely changed my life in such a beautiful way. God just, He showed so much grace and so much mercy. And
Mhm.
I was able to be very successful by like the age of 25. It was crazy how much success I had had personally and how much growth when just a few years ago my life was completely destroyed.
Mhm.
In that process, though, of walking in that space of just healing and letting God use me, I did meet my husband while speaking at a conference. And it was absolutely amazing because just a few weeks before meeting my husband, I told God, I don't want to do anything but encourage women as a single mom. Like, I just want to be this woman, this strong woman who can do it all and does not need a man. And then
Mhm.
he walks into my life. Well, I needed that man to walk into
Yeah.
my life. If you ever heard anything about marriage, they say like your partner becomes a mirror to you, and it really holds up,
Mhm.
they're able to just hold up a reflection of who it is that you are. And in my marriage, I was able to see parts of myself that still were broken, that still needed to be healed, things I still needed to talk about
Mhm.
and unpacked. And in that process, through meditation and prayer and therapy and journaling and just all the things, I've been able to be this person and been able to help other people get free, help people get out of bad financial situations, relationship issues, people who have been touched and exposed to things before they should have. And it's been absolutely amazing just being able to have experienced so much bad, all the things that bring you all the shame and embarrassment. And now I'll be this person that can just openly talk about it. And none of those things have held me back in my career, as a wife, as a mother, as a servant of God. It's been amazing.
Wow. So I know this is just like the snippet of your story and your journey. As you were walking from the age of, I want to pull it back all the way to the age of 13 or even 7 when this whole thing began. Um, Going through this journey, what has been some of your biggest challenges in your journey of freedom, in your journey of healing? What would you say were your greatest obstacles and challenges?
My greatest obstacles were, I would say, being vulnerable and honest. I didn't trust people. I stopped trusting
Mm,
people when I was a child. So it was very hard to know that I needed to heal. And a part of healing was me being open and authentic and honest
mhm,
about things that just brought me so much shame, things that I was embarrassed to even speak about. Like I had to articulate these things and even just going back and reviewing things, that was just so very hard for me. You
mhm,
know, it was a lot easier to keep a secret and not to say any things. And in my mind, just to think about it and process it myself, but to just be vulnerable enough to admit to somebody else that this was happening. It was extremely, extremely challenging. Sometimes I literally couldn't even open up my mouth. Like,
mhm,
I can't say it.
mhm. Mm. So the vulnerability, the openness, the trust factor, those are some of
Mhm.
the hardest things on your journey, your personal journey.
Yes.
What role now, if I remember correctly, you grew up as an evangelist's daughter.
Yes.
So you grew up in the church. And what role did faith, your personal faith, and your, I want to be very specific and say your relationship with Jesus, play in your healing journey, in your journey towards freedom?
So my relationship with Christ was everything to my healing journey.
Mhm.
I'll be honest, if I didn't have the faith that I did, I do not know if I would have been able to make it through everything that I've been through. There's this acceptance piece that comes with being a daughter of the Most High God, where you realize like everything, everything you've done, everything you said, everything you experienced, it's all been covered. There's love on that. There's
Mhm.
acceptance in that. There's grace in that. Because to the world standards, I am trash. Like the stuff that I've been through, the stuff that I've done is like, you are unworthy of all things, girl. You don't deserve nothing. No kids, no man, no successful businesses, no friends. You're trash, you know? But
Mhm.
it's in my faith and belief that there is a God, and this God had a son, and this son made this this son who did nothing wrong, like absolutely
Mhm.
nothing, lived a way better life than I could ever. Was like, you know what? Even in Marlia's method, she's worth it. She's
Mhm.
worth this, you know? So in my times of feeling unworthy or just disgusting and shameful, it's like, but there's Jesus. He
Mhm.
loves me so much, and he loves me in spite of, and he did all of that so I could step and be the person I need to be. Like, step up to the plate, Marlia. This isn't your time to cry. This is not your time to walk in any shame. Like, he needs you because there's a whole bunch of others like you that need him.
Mhm.
So it's everything. I don't think that if I didn't know God and have the faith that I did, that I would be able to just walk with my head held high and walk in this place of forgiveness and peace. I wouldn't have that. I know it.
Mm. Let's unpack the shame component a little bit because I know there's a lot of women out there who have had something happen to them
Yeah.
or put themselves in a situation where they did something to themselves
Mm,
that has brought feelings of shame, feelings of guilt, feelings of unworthiness, feelings of inadequacy, the feeling and the need to hide
yes.
and silence your voice and be quiet about certain things. So, in your relationship with Christ and on this journey, how has the Lord and how has these practical methods that you mentioned therapy, you mentioned meditation, you mentioned journaling, you mentioned coaching, these are the practical things that you actually invested in and took initiative in. How have all these things helped you unpack that shame element, that guilt, that hiding, that
Mm.
secrecy component in your journey?
Specifically, and I'll try to do my best to address each one. So, all of the different things that I did contributed to me letting go of shame. So, journaling, being able to sometimes just write out what happened or writing out what it felt like or what I experienced. For me, that acknowledgement on paper like almost lifted the burden. For some
Mhm.
reason, just being able to write it down, it's happened. I had a coach actually have me rip up and then set on fire, which I was very afraid to do. But like the things of my past,
Mhm.
and something just like immediately just fell off of me in
Yeah.
that process through meditation. Uh, Scientifically, I know that your all of the programming that we have, all of the thoughts that we think can easily be transformed and shifted in meditation. You know, when we think on things or murmur on things enough, those things kind of become fact in our life.
Mhm.
So, me, whether it's me meditating on the goodness of God, me meditating on me being loved, or me meditating on me being forgiven, and all of those things, the thoughts about myself began
Mhm.
to change, which affected that shame level.
Yeah.
I'm no longer in shame because this is what I now know and think about myself through me meditating.
Mhm.
Uh, I would say with therapy and coaches, they have a way of like asking you these questions. And by the time you're done with answering these questions, you just have so much more clarity about the situation. And like for me, I realized that that wasn't my fault.
Mhm.
Like, this
Mm.
whole time, you're just like, you should have said something, and, like, just all of these different things, like, I really had to forgive myself and stop blaming myself for that. Yes, did I play a role when I didn't say anything or when I allowed it to keep happening or all these things and even decisions that I make? Yes, 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 I take 100% responsibility, but at the same time, I did not stop there.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my life anymore.
Yes.
Those decisions impacted me at that time, but look how everything else has changed and shifted. Like, I have no reason, like, if anything, you should hold your head up high, because that little resume literally has changed. Like,
Absolutely.
you went from here to here. That's a success story. You are a champion. You are a hero, you know? So through therapy and journaling and coaching and meditation and reading the Bible, I've just kind of been able to like rewire my brain and my spirit to just
Mm-hmm.
to a space where the shame just can exist. Now, do I have moments? Yeah. But that's just the subconscious programming of it all. Because
Mm-hmm.
for so long, I believed this deeply. So I just got to call it right back. That's not you. That's not the truth. This is the truth. And just go about my day. But they help
Absolutely.
tremendously.
I love what you said. So in using journaling, it's you gave yourself permission to acknowledge and bring into reality the facts or the experience that was facts for you, because it doesn't matter what anyone else says or what anyone else experiences. It's your experience.
Mhm.
In narrative therapy, we talk about
Mm,
the value of being able to rewrite your story,
I love
the
that.
value of being able to rewrite the meaning and the significance of
Mhm.
different moments in your life.
Mhm.
And that comes through penning down. There's something that shifts in our minds
Yeah.
when we write things down physically. I mean, you can do it on your phone.
Yeah.
There's a different element that comes
I
from
agree.
literally writing with a pen or a pencil, whatever, but physically rewiring the patterns of your brain
Mhm.
to one, acknowledge. For some people, they might say, and I've heard this a lot with different clients, it's, I don't want to write it down because it makes it real. I don't want
Mm.
to write it down because I'm afraid who's going to stumble upon my journal,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So it's still that component of shame that is keeping you trapped,
Mhm.
but there is
Mhm.
power.
Yes.
And I want to tie that a little bit. I know it's a little bit of an offset, but tie it to what you've also incorporated as part of your professional life in helping other people write their stories. And it's
Mm.
part of your business
Mm.
now. It's this writing component.
Yes.
Um, so I'm going to deviate just for a second, and I'll come back to this. Where did this writing, publishing, helping people write stories come from?
So I've been writing since I was a child, okay? I can remember back in the day writing scripts and plays that I had my siblings and my family members act out. So my mom is like the hostess with the mostest. She loves entertaining and inviting people and their children and their families and strangers into our house. So all throughout the year, there was always some type of entertaining going on. And
Mhm.
if we're going to entertain, mommy, let us entertain. I will put on a full production. I got the costumes. I will do the set. So my nana even talks about it today. Like, I just remember, like, this baby's just going to do something amazing one day. But I would, weeks in advance, write out a script for my siblings to act out. They gave them lines to memorize. I got costumes together, created a set, and when my mom had parties, we would perform.
Oh, wow.
I was either directing in the back or I was a part of it while directing, but I was doing that like before the age of 8. And that was just a thing. And I loved it. I was also in plays as a kid. I was in plays at the Playhouse, plays at my church. Like, the performing arts have just been such a large part of my life. I love to journal and have diaries as a kid and all that. But I will tell you, I stopped writing for probably a good 10 years. From
Mhm.
the age of 10 to the age of 20 or so, I stopped writing. And the reason I did is because one night I stayed up all night. This story came to me
Mhm.
and I shared it with my I guess it would be like a history teacher at the time, but this is like 5th grade. So I don't think that was exactly what it was called back then, but we learned about social studies and those type of things. And I remember just I liked her as a teacher. She was just
Mhm.
she dressed really cute and she was just so nice and she was a black woman. You know, she had this this amazing. So I just liked her a lot. So I would share things with her. So I shared with her this story that I created, and like I wrote it out in a composition notebook. Mind you, at the time, my handwriting is absolutely sloppy. Okay. I'm still recovering from sloppy handwriting. And immediately she like got a headache from even attempting, and she was just like, Marlia, like, you will never be a writer. You cannot
Mm,
properly articulate the thoughts that are in your head and get them on paper correctly. You
mm,
will never be a writer. And I took that as fact, and I
mm,
stopped
mm,
writing. I never did another
mm,
play. Well, I never wrote another play. I never wrote another story. I stopped journaling. Like, you're not a writer.
mm.
Obviously, someone you love so much said you do not know how to properly articulate yourself on paper. So I stopped articulating myself on paper.
Mm,
But this love for words and stories did stumble back into my life when I became a single mom, and a book was suggested to me, and it was like a Christian fiction book, and it was about this girl who had fallen in love, and her whole life got destroyed after meeting this guy, and she had a baby, and her life was like salvage. It was a
mm,
6-story book, and I read all 6 books, and it just changed my life, and it made me fall
mm.
in love with stories, and it gave me hope and all these things. I'm just like, girl, your words are powerful. Like, Vanessa Miller changed your whole life in these 6 books, and I just had so much faith and hope. And yeah, so now I help other people acknowledge the stories in their lives and get their words and thoughts on paper, because I believe that those words and thoughts are going to impact somebody else just like they impacted me.
Wow. I didn't even know this part of the story, but I felt like this is where we had to go because, yes, the enemy is going to try to silence your voice.
Yeah.
He's going to try to take away your gifts. He's going to try to do everything that he can to steal, kill, and destroy. You're saying to me that before the age of 8, you were already like a fire. And then the enemy tried what he could to literally crush you, to
Yeah.
steal, to destroy, to kill you, to take
Yeah.
you out. And I say this often, like, we need to recognize that we live in a world that is at war, that we were
Mm,
born into a war, and the war has been to literally take us out. And the fact that you're standing here and that God is a God that restores, and He restores even those things that were stolen from us. Someone's careless words, someone's insensitive words could have silenced you forever.
yeah.
They could have prevented you from becoming this vessel that facilitates healing in so many ways, because as people write their stories,
Yes.
as they reclaim their story, they're also reclaiming elements of themselves,
Yeah.
parts of themselves that they have hidden, parts of themselves that they're ashamed of, parts of their story that I often say this to clients as well, as when you tell your story on your terms,
Mm,
you get to put the spin on it. You get to tell it the way it is for you. But when you allow other people to declare your story, then it is they get to judge you. They get to come up with all kinds of conclusions about your story. But in this season, I believe for a lot of people, God
yes.
is literally saying, reclaim your story because I'm in it, every part of it, every aspect of it. And so that's bringing in the tie-in of the writing, how God is using a gift that He embedded in you from your conception in His mind that the enemy tried to steal from you.
Mm,
And He's using it today in so many powerful ways.
amazing.
Wow. All right. So, what was a pivotal moment in your journey or a pivotal realization that propelled you towards this journey of healing and freedom? At what point in time did you say no more? At what point in time, or it might be multiple moments in time
Mhm.
at different chapters of your story, that you said, no, something has to change?
Yeah. So definitely when I was 19, after my first year of college, and I confessed to somebody at my university that what had happened to me as a child. And it was like my first time sharing it, like, oh my goodness, it was crazy. So that was one of those pivotal moments, because they asked, like, like, what happened? Like, did your parents do anything? Like, what's the
Mhm.
person's like, my parents don't even know. You never told your parents. So that was pivotal because it's like the two people in the world who love you the most don't even know about the craziest thing that ever happened to you, the thing that really changed your life. Um, After that, I would say another pivotal moment for me was becoming a mom, and having to, like, my whole world just blew up very quickly. And I had to move back in with my parents and with two kids. It was just a lot. So that was a time where I just really needed to. That's when I got back into the church and reading the Bible and just
Mhm.
discovering God on my own. And then I would say the last pivotal moment was sometime within my marriage. And my husband came to me and he just really had a conversation with me that just opened my eyes. Like, even with all my work and all my processing and all my speaking and helping other people, I'm still a very closed off person, even within my marriage. Like, it's so crazy because I can tell these stories and I can open up and I can share and all that, but, like, I really am still very closed off. I just know how to turn it on and turn it off. And I
Mhm.
realized that in my marriage, and that was a time where I went back to therapy. It was like, I can't be this person. Like, the
Mhm.
people who love me most, I still keep everybody out. Nobody is in the inner core. Like,
Mhm.
nobody. And that was an issue for me because I should feel safe enough,
Mhm.
with this man or with my sister or my siblings or with my parents. So those were three different times where I just had to go back and find whatever, served that situation best, whether it was God or therapy or just having a conversation with somebody that was once on the outside and needing to bring them in. But all three of those caused me to kind of shift things. And it worked out for my good.
Mm. What I'm hearing you say is one, God brought someone into your path, into your life, someone that was willing or curious enough to say what happened to you,
Mm,
and curious enough to say, okay, what did other people do? What was the setting? What was it? They didn't judge you, they didn't criticize you, but they sought
right.
to understand you and to understand your story. And perhaps that opened up your mind to say, maybe I can share this. Maybe people won't be as closed off to me and as judgmental and critical of me as I thought. Maybe this is the time to pick back that part of my story. Um, does that resonate at all?
It definitely does. Like, these little angels in the forms of people, you know? And I would say, like, in these bigger situations, he's done that. But even like with strangers and
Mhm,
my children, it's just so many different instances. God will just use somebody to let me know that it's okay, or that I am seen, or that I'm heard, or I should move forward in this way. So, yeah,
mhm.
good.
And he did it in multiple ways. He did it with the child that you gave birth to. And then he also did it through Manny in terms of just being able to bring to your awareness this need for shift and this need. And sometimes God will push us into a place of healing. God will literally kick us out of the nest because he knows it's necessary for us. And some of these conversations may be absolutely uncomfortable. They
Yeah.
may be
Yes.
the most painful
Mhm.
moments because it is literally an opening of the wound and a dismantling of a scab to dig in and clean out the wound and deal with the issues that are below the surface that we thought we had dealt with, but we haven't really dealt with. And
Mhm.
that's keeping us maybe in loops and cycles that we need to let go of so we can move into what God is calling us to.
Yes.
So let me ask this. In your journey of freedom and your journey of healing, how has the shift in you impacted the relationships around you with your family, with your loved ones, with your clients, how you show up in business as you've continued? Because it's a journey, it's a process. I don't think we're ever really there fully. But
Right.
as you've continued to unveil the different layers and of this healing journey,
Yeah.
how has your relationships changed and how have you showed up differently?
So my relationships have all improved from my family, like my relationship with my parents, my siblings, my husband, our children, even my friends. Just all of those really close relationships to me have all improved in the most amazing way because now I'm a communicator. Now
Mm,
I can be open and I can share my feelings and my experiences. As before, I used to just be just very, very happy and content, and you would never know that I was suffering in the inside. But now I can be
mm,
honest and vulnerable, and there's nothing like just being able to express yourself and let go of the things that might be bothering you or even things that you're excited about. Because I even
mm.
used to tone down my excitement just to keep people pleased within the space that I was in, you
Yeah.
know? So, and then for my clients, I think it's amazing that I've walked through this journey because one, I can be an example that it's possible. And
Mhm.
then also like I think that the world, especially like growing up in different cities and different suburbs, so much of this world could be just so dark and so negative, and there is no light, there is no hope.
Mhm.
And I've been able to see time and time again that there's so much light and there's so much hope and there's so much good out there. So because I've gotten to this space, I can now share that and give people a glimpse into this world so that they too can go do it.
Absolutely.
If I never went through what I went through, a lot of people, and I do know that God wouldn't have waited on me. He's going to use somebody else. But I'm
Mhm.
seeing it in whether it's the single moms that I'm working with, people that are married. There's so many people that because of the work that I've been doing, they've been able to do amazing things and their families have been set free and they've been able to pivot things in their finances and acknowledge things in their own life. And like these are all the things that held these people captive and now they can be free. So I believe that God has been sent to set the captive free, but I believe that I am a participant in that.
Yeah.
And the things that I say and do and produce is going to help lead a captive to freedom.
Absolutely. We are liberated so that we can go and liberate other people.
Yep.
To the woman that is saying, "Yo, Malia, I hear you, I hear your story, but no, this sounds like hard work. This sounds like a really messy, painful journey.
All the
I don't
things.
know if I can do it, Marlia. That might be your piece of cake. I don't know if this is for me." What would you say to that woman who is struggling to break free from the mental turmoil, from the emotional bondage that is keeping them from stepping into everything that God has for them because it looks messy, ugly, painful, and like hard work?
Well, I would first tell the girl who was listening to my story and in a situation or in a life and existence that is extremely difficult and healing looks difficult, I will let her know that both are hard.
Mhm.
What she's in right now sucks. It does. It does because I've been there. We've all been in those spaces. And it doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like burden and pain and just everything. So, in this situation right now, I just need you to choose a baby step because baby steps
Mhm.
do work. Okay. If the baby step is today, all right, Marley, I hear you. I'm going to just acknowledge I'm jacked up. I did some things happened to me. Life sucks right now. That baby step, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
That is. I don't want you to be any more overwhelmed than you already are. And it's very easy to be overwhelmed when there's just so much chaos and so much restriction on our minds, bodies, and spirits. So, whatever the baby step is, you might not be ready to speak to somebody professionally right now, but is there a close family member? A friend, the one that you tell about your cramps, the one that you tell about, different things. Maybe you can start with that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a journal. I'm all for the baby step because it was in the baby step of me telling the one person at school. And then that baby step of me sharing this with my children. And then that one baby step of me giving it all to God that
Mhm.
helped me to be here. Did I cry? Heck yeah. Did I scream? Sometimes, I did a lot of stuff. But when I say it's so worth it, and that pain is way better than that other pain I used to be in.
So it's a choose your hard.
Choose your heart. That's it. That's it.
And I like what you said. It's toward what end are you working towards?
Yeah.
Is choose your hard. when you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, when you know that you're choosing a heart that is towards light and power and strength and vitality, versus a heart that means I'm stuck in this dark place, I'm stuck in this place of bondage and despair
Mm,
forever and ever and ever. Like if that's your heart and that's what you're choosing, because for many people the choice is, okay, I've chosen pretense, I've chosen to fake it, I've chosen to numb it, I've chosen these ways of coping because this feels bearable, this feels like I could do this.
mhm,
That you're talking about, nah, how am I going to do it without the numbing? How am I not going to do it without those things that I've been using right now as crutches,
mm,
as drugs in a way, like whether it is social media, whether it is fame, whether it's the pursuit of money, whether it is sex, whether it
mhm.
is drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. And sometimes even religion can be a drug.
Come on.
you know, whatever it is that you're using that is keeping you from walking into an authentic, free life. Choose your heart.
Choose it.
So, in this journey, I know you mentioned this earlier, that there are moments. There are moments when the thoughts come back. There are moments when the feelings flood in. How do you maintain your sense of freedom and empowerment on a day to day basis? How do you navigate moments where there are setbacks and challenges, because loss and hardship and it's part of life. So, how do you navigate that and maintain your sense of freedom and empowerment?
So, when it comes to navigating the difficulties of life and still maintaining who it is that I believe I should be, I do have just daily habits that I engage in. Okay, so that's one thing. Daily habits such as I pray, I talk to God. And I'm not even gonna say these are like big, super bold prayers, but it's just like what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking or what I need assistance with. I believe in praying without ceasing. I should never get too good or too successful or have too much that I don't talk to God. I believe God is necessary, is a necessary part of my success. Praying, meditating, reading the words. I love the Psalms. When I am going through it, the book of Psalms, guys, I encourage you to read Psalm 37. So people always say like 23 and 91. Psalms 37. When I tell you it covers so much.
Mm,
I like to actually implant like my name sometimes or my situation in the Psalms. And I declare those words over my life. And I believe that those things are going to change. When things are chaotic, though, and it's a lot going on, I'm someone who had a history, and I thank God for deliverance and healing, who did used to have panic attacks, who did work my mind and my heart. I worked it up so much that I would literally start to spaz out and panic and anxiety and just the whole thing. So
mhm,
now I breathe.
mhm,
Now I just calm down a little bit. Now I take the time to just think about things because my thoughts do go a mile a minute. They could just go so quickly. And so in me breathing and me even just sometimes saying it's okay, everything's okay. My mom told me that if you just slap a smile on your face, it sends a message to the brain that things are okay, even without you making any decision or you taking any forward action. A simple smile will send a signal to your mind and just ease. So I
mhm,
smile, I breathe, and I just try to just think, just take. And sometimes that's me secluding myself too, you
mhm,
know. I think when we're on social media, when we're constantly answering phone calls and text messages, when we're so caught up in work, we become anxious and overwhelmed. But like when you just take the time, silence all the things and all the people, and you just like sit with that situation, you realize that a lot of that stuff isn't really the end of the world.
mm.
And even if it is the end of the world, it's not always the end of your life. And even if they say it's the end of your life, as long as you're still breathing,
Yeah.
okay. It's still time. But this did not happen overnight though.
Mhm,
I haven't always been this person. I used to be extremely anxious, extremely worried, extremely fearful of everything and everybody, you
mm.
know. But these different things that I've done over the years have just helped me to heal and deal and cope and be present.
Yes. Yes. One of the things I note about how you do life is you also have a lot of structure. You do schedules, you do lists, you do planning, and you do a lot of just creating structure for yourself. And for people that have undergone trauma, structure is really important because it
Hmm.
gives you a sense of safety, it gives you a sense of security, it gives you a framework. Even when life is chaotic, it gives you the shelves where to put the chaos.
Yes, I love that.
And so I really appreciate that about you. And I know that you also provide resources for moms and women to be able to help organize their life and help with some structure and framework in their lives so that it doesn't feel overwhelming, and so that you do find that moment in those spaces to breathe and be still and lean into just being with God and quieting the voices and hearing what God has to say.
Yes.
So, in this season of your life, what does success look like? What does a life unleashed look like?
Ooh.
And how is this definition of success and a life unleashed impacting the generations that you influence coming up?
Ooh. That's good. That's good. Okay. So, in this season of my life, success and living life unleashed to me is peace
Mm,
and freedom in
mhm,
who I am and what I do and how I contribute. Uh, like there's no limits, there's no need to worry in this season. I am provided for, like that's success for me. It's not even what people think of me at this point or what I have or what the numbers and all that stuff. Like I have peace. I
mhm,
am provided for. I am protected, and I'm able to wake up every day and do things that I love in the way that I love to do it. And it's like it's just so much freedom in that. So I would say that that's me being unleashed and me being in this space of success with peace and freedom and just knowing that it's all good and I'm good. I'm always good. I'll always be good. Everything's always working out for my good. That affects the future generations through the work that I do, as well as the people that I impact and influence, and anything that like I create, I believe is going to set people up with a hope, with a future, giving them options,
mhm,
helping them to see that they are limitless. And then these people will go on and do major things.
mhm,
And again, major things are maybe things that make it to the news. Major things are having conversations with people on your street and having conversations with your family members and you interceding for cities and countries that you don't even know. Major things are happening through these
mhm.
people that exist and will exist. Good things are happening.
Yes.
So as long as I just stay in this place of just believing and doing what I'm supposed to do, it's gonna be all right, and everybody's gonna
Mhm.
be all right. You know, those who want to be all right, though.
Yeah. It's a decision.
It
It's a
is.
definite decision. All right, we got a few more minutes, and I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
One is what role has forgiveness
Ooh.
played in this journey of healing and freedom?
Forgiveness has led the way
Mm,
in this process of healing and freedom. Because I just do not feel like you can receive complete peace and complete freedom holding on to things and not forgiving others. I believe, and this is just scripturally based, that forgiveness is essential to this process in this life, that we should forgive as God forgives. I mean, we're forgiven and we do foolish things to someone who did absolutely nothing to us and has done everything for us,
mm,
so those who might have said things behind your back or tried to do something inappropriate in your relationship or whoever, whatever, like
mm,
forgiveness is absolutely everything. And I've seen, as I've been able to let things go, God has allowed me to elevate and he's trusted me with more. And even just the feeling in my heart, like it's this this feeling of freedom is not as heavy
mm.
anymore. It's like
Yes.
I don't know, I just see everyone so differently too.
Mhm.
Like he or she, they were who they were or where they were because of something. Like something happened before that experience they had with me. So many
Mhm.
things and people, contributed to them thinking this way or being that way. So I can't take that personally,
Yeah.
you know? And I just think we all need grace. 'Cause I've done some terrible things too as well.
Mm.
I'm not perfect. No one is. So I
Yeah.
just forgive.
Mm. That's such a powerful message, because in our journey of releasing others, those that have hurt us, those that have wounded us, it's also part of that trust component is believing that God ultimately has the final say in our lives, that what was meant to harm us, what was meant to take us out, it does not get to have the final say in our lives. When we fully understand that He has the final say, we realize that they can try, but no weapon that is formed against us shall prosper.
What?
It doesn't matter what can come against us, but we recognize that nothing can separate us from His love. And we know that He will do what He promised us, no
What?
matter what.
Yes.
He will do it. I think about the scriptures in the Bible that where in Isaiah, where God is saying, I will make a way in the wilderness.
What?
I will make pathways. I will cause rivers. He's going to do it. Do we recognize
Yes.
that what was meant to take us out, what our perpetrators tried to do, and even what we did, the
Mhm.
choices we made, our decisions that were not the best, that they don't, as long as we make a decision to come back to God and come into alignment with God, and we don't disconnect from God,
Yes.
you know and even in this moment, I'm just thinking about a branch that has been wounded or scarred. As
Mhm.
long as it stays connected to the tree, the tree will repair itself, it will heal itself. But if you count yourself out and you cut yourself off and you disconnect, you're going to die.
Mm.
But if you remain connected, there is always hope.
Mm.
Y'all, Marlia has honored me too with the yes to be one of the speakers at the She's Unleashed conference coming up in June 28th through 30th. And I want to ask you, Marlia, what is just a small synopsis of what the Lord is laying on your heart concerning this conference and why you think someone needs to be there?
Okay, so mm, when I tell you that God is bringing so much healing and freedom to the individuals that are saying yes to this conference, yes to this experience, people are literally going to go home and things are going to be so changed, so shifted, so unrecognizable. They will have no choice but to look crazy praising God. Like people are going to wake up one day, speaking in tongues, doing the dancing, the whole thing. Like, God, there is no denying after this point. You are going to see the breakthrough. You are going to experience freedom. Families and your body, just every single thing that you can imagine, it's falling off, it's changing, and it's shifting. And you don't have to wait until the fall, honey. That's going to happen in June. And you're
Yes.
going to keep seeing in July. And the
Come on.
favor, the grace, the mercy, all throughout the year. You're going to go into the next year with a new life, new insight. You're going to be unrecognizable.
Mm.
And that starts at the conference.
The significance of the fact that it falls right at the end of the 6 month, just before we step into the 7 month, the halfway mark. And we've been talking about how this is the last trimester of the 9 months. There is something that the Lord is birthing amongst His daughters. There's something that He is pulling out of us. And as He's been pulling that out of us, there's something you're getting ready to birth. There's something I'm getting ready to birth. There's something that other daughters are getting ready to birth in this season. And I keep saying this, I keep seeing it, I keep hearing it. I hear the sound of celebration.
Come
I
on.
hear the sound. Jen keeps saying, I hear the chains falling. I hear the shackles falling off. I hear them literally falling because there's something that God has for each and every one of us. And He's
Yes.
saying, no more. The enemy does not get to have the final say in our lives anymore. There is something God is propelling us into, pushing us into in this season, and it is going to be phenomenal. So, ladies, if you would join us. I'm going to pull this up real quick. If you will join us um, at the conference, this is the graphic. You can click on that barcode right there and register. When this shows up and this goes live, there will be 74 days counting down to the She Is Unleashed conference. And we are extremely excited about this. And we want to invite you to be a part of this. This is the gathering of God's daughters, God's warrior daughters. This is a gathering of those that say no more, that we are being freed so that we can go and free others. And that came out so clearly in your story today, Marlia. You keep doing that continuously. One of the other spaces that you have is the Loving Me Freely.
Yes, community and academy.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So that honestly, it's like an accountability group, a virtual accountability space where each month I am holding women accountable or walking them through a process. So some months we're focusing on our families, our finances. Sometimes it's our homes. Like depending on what God lays on my heart, that's something that we just focus on for 4 weeks. It was birthed because like the foundation of me being who I am is me being a part of accountability groups, me having assignments and being in these spaces where we came back together and we gathered together and we worked on the things that we need to work on. And, we set goals and all of that. So I just wanted to create a space as well where people are not in this journey alone, whether they're working on increasing their faith, their finances, improving their families, like whatever that is, you can do this with other people and we can set goals and make plans and take action together. So that is that. And I love it. I do.
Awesome. Well, y'all, I will have Marlia's information in the description of this podcast. So go ahead and connect with her. She is a phenomenal person to have in your life. I know Ben's life and my life have been completely shifted in the last year that we have been working with her and her husband. And so thank you once again, Marlia, for being a part of this journey with us. And thank you for being on the show today. I speak God's blessings over you and everything that you and your family set out to do in this season. Thank you all for being here, for watching. Please share, please like, and please let us know what part of this story and this journey impacted you. And because we want to hear, we want to know. All right, y'all. God bless and have a wonderful rest of your week. Marlia, please stay on just for a few seconds after this.
Thank you.